Right friends, welcome back to editorial discussion. There are 4 aspects today and we are going to deliberate. One is with regard to judicial murder or risky or ill considered. One is Hindu editorial, other one is the Times of India editorial. Pakistan announced that a former Indian naval officer Kulbhushan Jadhav has been sentenced to death by a field general court martial, and it is confirmed by the Pakistan army chief also. And now the issue here is why the process is wrong. Here the process is wrong because of 2-3 aspects. One is his confession was broadcasted at a press conference, but it looked like bits and pieces. It looked like bits and pieces because throughout the broadcast he contradicted his own statements, and it suggests that he had been tutored and that particular tape was doctored, or you can say it was spliced. So, that is one doubt. Second one is, even if the confession was admissible in a court of law, there is a little to show that he had been plotting operations against CPEC. Here the news report says that from Pakistani perspective, he was taken from Balochistan province, and India says that he was taken from Iran, and India made 13 requests for consular access. Pakistan replied in such a way that will accept to it, that they will accept to that, provided that India will cooperate in the investigation. And here one important convention is there in such type of matters, in such type of cases. One important convention is there, that is Vienna Convention on Consular Relations of 1963. Vienna Convention on Consular Relations of 1963. It is an international treaty that defines a framework for consular relations between independent states. So, it defines a framework for consular relations between independent states, and here a consul normally operates out of an embassy in another country. So, here I will explain you. The consul will operate from our embassy in Pakistan, and what is the purpose of that council? The purpose of council is protecting the host country, the interests of their countrymen, to protect the interests of the countrymen, and at the same time furthering the commercial and economic relations between the two states. So, for this purpose, this Consular Relations Vienna Convention is there, which belongs to 1963, and in this particular case this was violated in spite of India's requests 13 times, right. So, international human rights agencies also criticized them. Mr. Jadhav must be allowed a retrial at the same time, preferably in a civil court. And what India needs to do? Here, under these circumstances, India must pursue relentlessly, and India must raise the issue with Iran, where Mr. Jadhav is believed to have been based for more than a decade, and India strongly feels that he was taken from Iran. Then it is not clear how he was brought, whether by force or otherwise, whether he was brought from Iran or Balochistan province of Pakistan. All these things are not clear. The next one is the announcement coincides with the recent disappearance of a former Pakistani army officer in Nepal. And the next point is, there is every possibility that India-Pakistan dialogue process may further hamper because of this. This also limits the channels of communication between India and Pakistan. So, India should relentlessly fight for Kulbhushan Jadhav. And look at the next issue, no place for scholarship. This is most important educational issue. Here the author feels that government guidelines, or you can say University Grant Commission's guidelines, are in favor of reducing the MPhil seats, the author feels MPhil is most important part, and it is strongly against 2016 guidelines. Here you see higher education. 3 tiers are there. In higher education, there are 3 tiers. One is graduate. This is at the bottom of the ladder of higher education. Graduate, which involves BA, BCom, BTech. When it comes to postgraduate courses, it involves MSc, MA, then MTech. These are all postgraduate courses, and the tier 3 at the higher level. Higher level, it has got 2-stage option. One is MPhil, second one is PhD. Directly people can register for PhD after post graduation, or other option is they can go through MPhil. So, here the author feels why MPhil is incorporated as the another step, or you can say in the 2-stage process. What is the need for MPhil? Please look into these points. Here MPhil is designed, please look into this. This MPhil is designed basically when additional training and skills are required before taking up original research. Original research is nothing but PhD. Before taking up original research, or you can say it acts as interface between PhD and the post graduation. So, here this is when additional training and skills are required. This is basically designed to address the need. Then second point is here up to master level, you can say up to graduation and post graduation. These two basically, these two do not involve any new thing. The purpose of graduation and post graduation in the education system is basically assimilation and reproduction of existing knowledge. So, when we are studying MSc or MA, what we will do? We will just assimilate and reproduce whatever is available. We are not doing any new research. So, before taking up a new research like PhD, this MPhil will act as interface to upgrade further skills, or you can say additional training and skills are imparted to take up original research. Next one is MPhil will orient students towards the new and entirely different activity of research, or you can say it will be interface, or you can say it will act as via media between original research and the graduate and postgraduate courses. Graduate and postgraduate courses are not for the purpose of any original research. They are for the purpose of just assimilating and reproducing whatever is available knowledge, right. MPhil degree makes one eligible for a full-time teaching position. So, MPhil degree is mandatory and it makes eligible for a full-time teaching position at university and college level and is critical for expanding faculty strength. So, here please understand this MPhil is for particular purpose, it is kept in the educational system, the author feels. Now, you see access to higher education. If you look at the developments during the past decade, almost enrollment in higher education almost doubled. Second point is poor and disadvantaged sections from rural areas, from women, they are enrolling into higher education. In fact, share of females in the higher education is 46% in 2015-16. Now, parents are willing to send the students to higher education. Reservations are also there, and private universities are also coming up. Rural students are coming to the towns and cities to pursue higher education. So, because of all these things, nowadays Indian higher education system is evenly represented from all sections of society and diversified. So, this MPhil is acting as interface. Previously, students used to come from elite sections of society. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people used to come from elite sections of society. They can even register directly for PhD instead of going through MPhil, but now the situation is different. Now disadvantaged section people are coming, rural people are coming, then here women are enrolling and disadvantaged sections are there. So, for all these people, especially the people whoever lack sufficient knowledge, then this MPhil will be highly useful before going for PhD. So, that is the main crux of this slide. Then you see what changed. The change is, if you look at 2009 guidelines and 2016 guidelines given by University Grants Commission. If you look at the guidelines given by University Grants Commission, 2009 guidelines says faculty was allowed to supervise up to 8 PhD and 5 MPhil students with overall cap intended to regulate faculty workload. Previous guidelines, each faculty can supervise up to 8 PhD and 5 MPhil students, but now 2016 guidelines, an assistant professor can supervise only 1 MPhil, then associate professor can supervise only 2 MPhil and professor can supervise only 3 MPhil. So, the author feels because of the change in guidelines of 2016, now MPhil students' strength may be reduced. Now MPhil is very much required because several rural students are coming, several disadvantaged people are coming. Because of this diversification, MPhil is very much required because rural students may not be able to cope up directly from post graduation to PhD. So, that is the viewpoint of the author. So, other aspects, it has also been decided that only full-time regular faculty of a given department can be supervisors, and interdisciplinary research requires co-supervisors, and the co-supervisors from affiliating colleges must have at least 2 publications in referred journals to be eligible to supervise. So, these are the conditions imposed now by University Grants Commission through its 2016 order. So, what are its consequences? The consequences are MPhil is a 2-year degree, and here supervisors being allotted during the course of the first year itself, and the guidelines clearly shows that the limit is imposed 1 MPhil, 2 MPhil, 3 MPhil like that. So, because of the guidelines, the student intake in MPhil may be reduced. MPhil assumed significance in recent times. Several state universities are also starting MPhil programs because of University Grants Commission regulations. What will happen? MPhil seats may be reduced. Nowadays, MPhil seats are very much essential because disadvantaged people are coming to take up research. For them, MPhil is very much essential before registering for PhD. Then more and more first generation students are making up to this level, and several institutions are currently engaged in planning new modes of teaching and research skills necessary to aid the process. So, supervising an MPhil student is one of the best ways for an assistant professor to grow as a researcher. So, the author feels because of the UGC guidelines, these are the consequences. And so, finally, what will happen? And in the author's opinion I am talking about, finally in the author's opinion, MPhil classes will become unviable because of low numbers. Second point is, directly students will try to get into PhDs straight from a PG degree, and some of the rural students may be ill prepared to face the challenges, and faculty will be less equipped to develop as research supervisors. So, the author feels the circular is killing the research potential of India's universities. Right, this is one part of the story. Please listen to the fundamental point, or you can say counter view. So far, I thought about the view of the author. Now, another view is also very much pertinent, counter view, that is fundamental point. Is the research really helping India? I am posing several questions, please go through them. why Indian universities are not among the world's best? There may be some reasons, but is the faculty doing the things required? Even IITs, IIMs not able to come to the top 100 in the world. How many world class publications are presented by Indian researchers? Even the reputed newspapers nowadays, even the reputed newspapers are dependent on foreign think tanks. They are dependent on foreign think tanks for the articles. Nowadays in The Hindu also several articles appear which are written by the foreign think tanks or the academia of foreign universities. What happened to the think tanks of Indian universities? Next one is the PhD education really serving its purpose? Then why not a Google or Facebook or Microsoft originated in India so far? Are we getting the returns on spending so much amount on research? What are the results? Where are the results? Are our institutions really world class? Is the funding only the real reason? So, it is very difficult to answer these questions. I only partially agree to the opinion of the author, probably may be correct up to the extent that MPhil seats are getting reduced because of the regulation, but I totally put forth another point of view. Our educational institutions, especially at the original research like PhD, is not living up to the expectations. This is an accepted fact. Look at the next one, pivot to the Indo-Pacific. In a nutshell, I will tell you, this author feels that because of the visit of Bangladesh Prime Minister, India-Bangladesh relations got strengthened. India can become regional power in South Asia. That is not enough. India must become a power in Indo-Pacific region as a whole by tying up with countries like Australia, Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam. So, this is the crux of this article. India should become the power in Indo-Pacific region. India's influence must extend to the Indo-Pacific region. So, that is the crux of this article. So, is India on way to become a key regional player? See the recent developments with Bangladesh. See the recent developments with Bangladesh. I discussed for the past few days, we are discussing in fact here. Delhi Dhaka joint statement stressed the need for greater military to military training and complemented the armed forces for their professional conduct during joint search and rescue operations in the Bay of Bengal, leading to the rescue of large number of fishermen. Then defense relationships include an MOU, $500 million letter of credit or line of credit for defense procurement. It is line of credit, $500 million, and here this $500 million line of credit. Another important aspect is Bangladesh need not source these defense equipments from India. So, this shows the confidence India had on Bangladesh. At the same time, $4.5 billion line of credit. This is the highest ever. Then the third one is connectivity in South Asia. India is pushing for early implementation of BBIN motor vehicle agreement. Bus and train services started between Kolkata and Khulna. Bangladesh is taking serious steps to control bases of insurgent organizations from India on their land. So, Bangladesh is taking many steps to prevent insurgency operations on their land from northeastern part of the country. Because of Bangladesh only, we are peaceful in northeast. Then, however, Bangladesh opposition leader says that Sheikh Hasina is selling out to the country. That means Sheikh Hasina is genuflecting before India with the intention to stay in power for life. So, the immediate need is India must reciprocate with the signing of Teesta water deal. Amicably, Teesta water deal must be signed. So, this is India-Bangladesh relation he is talking about. and then South Asian player. So, the author feels India not only should become South Asian player, but it must become a regional player in Indo-Pacific region. So, please look into this map. This is Indo-Pacific region. So, right from India right up to Australia, New Zealand, this is a total part of Indo-Pacific region, which includes mostly this Southeast Asian countries. And the author feels India has got the potential to become regional player in Indo-Pacific region. So, India not only in South Asia, but it must try to become a regional player in Indo-Pacific region. Right. So, India should transform from being a mere South Asian power to greater engagement in Indo-Pacific region. So, the author feels that New Delhi's success for becoming a regional player in Indo-Pacific region lies with engaging countries like Japan, Australia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia. Australian Prime Minister's successful visit gives a clear indication that India can become a major power in Indo-Pacific region. That is what the author feels. So, in a nutshell, India concluded right agreements with Bangladesh, or India and Bangladesh relations are further cemented with the visit. That is one point. Second point is Australian Prime Minister visited. If you look at the Australian Prime Minister's visit, both the countries pledged to enhance maritime cooperation, then unimpeded lawful commerce, and as per United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea, both the countries stressed for following the maritime laws, following the international laws, and here both the countries pledged to maintain freedom of navigation and overflight. Probably this statement means with regard to South China Sea, and both the countries decided to hold bilateral maritime exercises. So, the author says the visit of both Australia, visit of Bangladesh Prime Minister, Australian Prime Minister. So, these are in fact in favor of cementing ties with these countries. So, India should extend its reach to become regional player in Indo-Pacific region. That is all about this article. Look into the most important article, more robots, fewer jobs. So, jobless growth is taking place. We presented one capsule some time back with regard to jobless growth, and look at the alarming facts. As per OECD report, more than 30% of Indians aged 15 to 29 are neither in employment nor in any training nor in education. So, 30% of Indians in 15 to 29 age group are not engaged in education or employment or skill development. So, this is going to be the bigger problem. As per AICTE report, more than 60% of 8 lakh engineers graduating from technical institutions across the country every year remain unemployed. This is second important aspect. Then machines are systematically cutting down the workforce requirements in all the 3 spheres of agricultural, manufacturing and services sectors. Then bridging this employment gap could become an insurmountable challenge, because nowadays the main aspect is machine learning with artificial intelligence. Machine learning and artificial intelligence based technologies as well as robotics. Because of these things, job losses may take place, and showing jobs to the youth of the world is becoming difficult. Look at the 2 examples. One is the example of JP Morgan Chase. Recently, JP Morgan Chase stated that they developed a program COIN, COIN. They developed the program COIN, a learning machine coin is the learning machine that interprets legal agreements. For interpreting legal agreements, previously 3,60,000 work hours for lawyers and loan officers were required annually. In previous days, 3,60,000 work hours for lawyers and loan officers were required annually, but now these aspects can be looked after with this coin program within seconds. So, this is the aspect of automation. So, automation is going to happen, no one can stop. Now, the biggest question is how to retain jobs, how to create jobs. Then look at the second example. An American medical school, recently an American medical school tested artificial intelligence technology Watson. Artificial intelligence technology Watson, it analyzed 1,000 cancer diagnoses. 1,000 cancer diagnoses were analyzed, and in 99% of the cases, Watson was able to recommend treatment plans that matched the suggestions of well-renowned oncologists. So, in 99% of the cases, this artificial intelligence technology based Watson could able to recognize or identify or diagnose these cancer cases in 99% of the times. Where is the need for doctors now? So, these two examples clearly shows the days ahead. Now, what about future? The biggest question mark is what about future? World Economic Forum says that the automation threatens almost 69% of the existing jobs in our country. It seems like a conservative number, and the issue is more and more jobs may go away. Then throughout history, we have always feared that the machines will cause mass unemployment. This is not new. Throughout history, we felt that the machines will cause mass unemployment, but the present case is entirely different. The present situation is something different. Machines are systematically cutting down the workforce requirements. Machines are systematically cutting down the workforce requirements, and if you see in future, most of the jobs generated are likely to be low paid jobs in services sector. In future, most of the jobs are going to be low paid jobs in the services sector. So, please look into this: beauty parlors, multiplexes, then shops, shopping malls, all these things are going to create low paid jobs in future. That is going to be the reality. Very few jobs will be created at a high level. Most of the jobs will be taken over by automation, and at the lower level only majority of the jobs, at the lower level majority of the jobs will be created basically in the services sector. That is going to be the future, and it is going to be the challenge for the governments in future. Right friends, we discussed 4 articles, and out of these 4, one question can be asked: critically examine whether India can become the regional player in Indo-Pacific region, and for this we will deliberate in future also. Second point is whether the UGC regulations will stifle the original research in academic institutions in our country. So, this also can become another potential question. So, we deliberated 2 important aspects. Third one now we discussed, which is about jobless growth, and we deliberated a separate capsule on jobless growth. Please view that, please view this. You can get maximum answers to write any type of question in the examination. Right friends, with this let us conclude today's discussion of editorials. Have a nice day. Thank you.